It is Friday, November 24th here at the West End Gun Club. It's Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, which marks the biggest shopping day of the year, supposedly. I did a little shopping online last night, bought a few things, gun-related stuff, but nothing significant. I only got a few things that I actually needed. There were a few deals that I was pondering, but then I just didn't pull the trigger, so to speak, when I got in my shopping cart, because when I thought about it, I was like, man, do I really need to do this? I was like, nah, I don't even want to build this project because I'd rather build something else. So while there were a few good deals, if I didn't have any short action rifles or anything, or if I needed to build another short action, I would have bought something yesterday or 2 days ago, but I opted not to. If there were a deal on long actions, I would have gotten something, but there was no really great deal on a long action. Anyway, I'm out here today, not really doing much. I packed a very light kit. Well, I don't know, I have a lot of gear in my Jeep, but very light kit, so to speak, compared to what I usually bring out here. Just brought out the 6.5 Creedmoor, the gun I plan on using for NRL Hunter. Gonna shoot a few groups and just shake out some things I'm doing. And then gonna head down to the Rimfire range and just shoot a little of my 1022 because I haven't brought it out in a while and it's been sitting in the safe. So I figured, hey, let's bring it out today because didn't have any plans for today because I'm not going shopping because I want to avoid that crowd if at all possible. It's really quiet here on the range right now. I got here a little bit before 6, it's 6:30. I was setting a target at 305 yards roughly, set up a paper target 100. But it's really quiet here. I thought it'd be at least one person or two out here on Friday because most people have, I don't know, I don't say most people, a lot of people have today off, like I do. Today's a holiday, so to speak, for our campus. Anyway, let's get some stuff put together here and we'll start shooting. I ended up ordering a Garmin Xero C1 Arca arm mount to mount it to your forend. And while that's coming in, during that time when I actually ordered it, I did end up making my own arm mount using some Amazon sourced Arca clamps, which looked about relatively thin or narrow, but they're not all that lightweight. And I did use 1/8 inch thick aluminum plate. Probably should have just went to 3/16 or 1/4 inch because I did use 3/16 for my GoPro mount. I was just trying to think about making it lightweight. I was thinking about making it lightweight rather. And it does flex a little bit when you get it on there and you try to bend it. And so it does flex. So under recoil, I'm sure it's probably going to be like kind of vibrating. I don't think it really matters. But in the grand scheme of things, I would probably recommend if you're going to make your own Xero C1 arm mount with Arca clamps and aluminum plate, I would just go with 3/16 or 1/4 inch. Probably just 1/4 inch might be okay, but 3/16 at least. But as you can see here, it's just 2 Arca clamps on aluminum plate, and that's it. That's all you got to do. Pretty simple deal. And we'll just snug it up with these screw knob clamps, and that's pretty much it. I wasn't entirely sure if this was going to be far out enough. I didn't want to make it too far. I think I used a 5.5 inch long section, and then where I drilled it, like when I was looking at the clamps where they would get drilled, it seemed like it would be okay. I mean, from the muzzle, it's not even like 2 inch, from the barrel, it's maybe, center line of the barrel, it's maybe 3 inches, 2.5 inches. Should be good enough, I guess. I'm not entirely sure if I have enough, if I can see past the muzzle. I don't know like how much of a cone it needs, but we'll see. We'll just try it out and see how it goes. If you notice, I am using a different rear bag than I would kind of use normally, well, in NRL 22 and whatnot. I've gotten a habit of using the Armageddon Game Changer as a rear bag when there's a lot of contention on why you shouldn't use a Game Changer as a rear bag. Like, it's understandable why you would do it in PRS or something where you're only limited to one bag or whatnot, and it's just convenient. But the way you manipulate the bag, I've noticed that it's very inconsistent because of how you're trying to adjust this larger bag and trying to squeeze it in different ways and the way the fill moves around. So there's a lot of merit of just using what people have been using a long time ago, are these sort of just small bags that you just, a real squeeze bag, you know, like a sandstock or something, which allows you to control it a lot better with one hand, and it's just, the flow is going to be consistent every time as far as the fill. But that's kind of what I'm messing around with this morning, because I've kind of noticed that I'm able to get better groups or more consistent point of impacts, but especially when it comes to elevation. Although this morning I did throw a couple low rounds because I want to say that they were hot, or like the velocities were a little bit higher than the rest of the group. Did my hearing in all the way. Wasn't that loud, but definitely wasn't all the way. Group's a lot better there. This was with the CCI BR4 primers, which I normally use. 42.2 grains of H4350 CCI BR4s. We're looking at, with the 144 LR HTs from Berger, 2687.3. Sorry, that was my last shot. 2691 average, 3 standard deviation, 8 extreme spread. So 2691, standard deviation of 3, extreme spread of 8 with a 5-shot sampling. But I don't know. I think I'm going to stick with the VR4 primers, not mil spec. I think those mil primers I'll just save for whatever, but I only bought a brick so just to test out. Here's a quick close-up of the Garmin session summary screen for that last string I just shot. And as you can see here, again, shows you your min, average, max, extreme spread, and standard deviation. As I stated earlier, 2691 feet per second average. Standard deviation of 3 with an extreme spread of 8. And you know it does have the min and max there at 2687.3, 2695.3. It's a very nice session summary screen. You got a lot of screens on the Garmin at different points or different, I guess,
states that you're in. So this is the end session. So I ended the session and I wanted to go look back at my history. And this is when you go look at your history, you can look at the shot summary for your individual strings. This is far better than magnetospeed. Magnetospeed is horrendous when it comes to reviewing shot data on that display, because basically it's just paging through a text file on that generic LED display, and it's just terrible. It's cumbersome. You got to get it on a computer. Like if you shot, let's say you shot 30 strings and you're going to go back to, you know, string 1 after you shot 30 on that. If you're at the range and you just shot string 30 and you want to go all the way to 1, you have to page all the way down. So it's basically line by line paging until you get to the very end. And God forbid you have like 20 shot strings, you're basically going to page through 20 shot times 30. So Live Radar is significantly better in that regard, and so is the Garmin.
Plate swinging too much. As far as my kit today, I did want to bring this out, which is the pack that I plan on using for NRL Hunter. This is a Stone Glacier Approach 2800, I think. I totally forgot the model name. It's a very small pack. I want to air quotes a small pack. It's kind of like their day pack for hunters. It's got this spotting scope compartment here on the front, but it folds flat and it expands quite a bit. I think 2,800 cubic inches, which hence the name 2,800. I was going to use my Everly stock Gunslinger G2. I had a Gunslinger G2. I was using that for a little bit for kind of just matches and stuff that I would go to where I didn't want to use my range cart, because back in the day with service rifle and across the course we had these little carts, which are, you see a lot of those in 3-gun, but back in the day and across the course, because you're literally moving across the course from the 200, 300, the 600 yard line with all your gear, your shooting mat and all that stuff. Spotting scope, shooting mat, mags, gloves, hats, etc. It's just easier to have a cart. Anyway, I don't shoot those kind of matches anymore, and I was using the Everly stock Gunslinger G2. It's a pretty decent pack. However, it's heavy, and I don't have my notes with me, but if I recall correctly, it's somewhere in the realm of like almost 8 pounds, I think, for the whole pack, and it does have a frame on it. It's a nice frame. However, so I said, you know what, I need to switch to a smaller, lighter pack, and when I was shopping around, I was like very close to getting a mystery ranch. But when I was reading into it, the mystery ranch, and I wasn't sure if I really wanted the mystery ranch based on the sizing and stuff. And so I looked into Stone Glacier, which is, you know, a hunting brand. And a lot of people like their packs, and I just like the way, a lot of their information out there on how they fit their packs and whatnot, and it seemed very versatile for me. And I looked at all their stuff. They had really huge packs, which is what I didn't want. So I saw this one, I thought this was the one for me. Anyway, this is what I'm gonna use. I'll record a video on it later, I guess, kind of just talking about what I'm gonna, like my entire kit for NRL 22, sorry, NRL, for NRL Hunter. But basically, I just plan on having nothing in the spotting scope cover or spotting scope pouch. I'm gonna have like just random stuff in there. My spare binos. We'll talk. I don't know if I'm gonna carry another spare bino, and laser rangefinder. But basically, I can just have my stuff in here. Just my bino harness. Keep it in there during transport, my tack table and whatnot, and my sustenance. So this is what I'm gonna plan on using, and I believe this pack weighs about 4 pounds or less than 4 pounds. I'll put the weights in the captions for this video when I get home because I have to look at my notes. I don't have my notebook with me. But this is significantly lighter. It does have a rail. It does have a, why am I losing my mind right now? A frame. Sorry, it has a frame. So it does have a frame, and it's adaptable to all their packs basically that use their frames. So pretty cool. Stone Glacier, check them out. This is in foliage green, and see how this goes. And I'm still debating on what to bring as far as bags though. Just as I stated earlier, I think I'm really seriously just going to switch back to this for a rear bag. I'm probably going to bring the regular Game Changer sticky as opposed to the medium. I think I'm just going to bring this and for glassing and whatnot and shooting off of, and then this for rear bag support. And I can go to this if I really need tall rear bag, but I think I'll just use this for rear bag. I think I'm just a lot more consistent in my groups. Anyway, let's go collect my target and we'll head down to the Rimfire range, but I'm going to show you my steel target that I shot a moment ago. Just want to show off this target here. We got 5 shots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My first shot, I adjusted, I trued up the windage. 10th right, there's basically no wind today. So 10th right to true it up here. And then second shot, third shot, I think 4th shot, and I pulled this one. But we're doing pretty good here. So I'm content with this as 1.2 mils at 308. This is roughly 308 yards where I'm standing or squatting. But I think we're truing up the windage here this is with the BR4 primers, not with the mil-spec primers or the mil primers. I call them mil-spec, but the mil primers. But I think we're gonna stick with the BR4s. So we're right here at the Rimfire range with the 1022, shooting Ely semi-auto 22LR bench rest precision. This is the only ammo that shoots decent in this 1022. It's got a 20-inch Volquartsen barrel. However, it's 18.5-inch effective with a 1.5-inch, I think it's 1.5-inch for the compensator. Those ports, see where those ports are, there's no rifling there. So technically, while it's a 20-inch overall length, it's a 18.5. Two-tenths of a mil. Okay, 2/10 of a mil offset. But as you can see, or hopefully you can see, it got all 20 rounds. No misses with the Rimfire. All I did was slap it on there, turn it on, tell it we're shooting, you know, the low range on rifle, and picked up all 20. So 1103.9 average, standard deviation 9.4, 41.7 extreme spread. But as you can see, like I said in my previous vlog, this thing is pretty good. I mean, it's like pretty good. It's really good. No, simple to set up and it works. It's amazing. Range session is complete. Relatively short. Shot about 20 rounds, 25 rounds up on the upper range with the 6.5 Creedmoor build. Shot about, I would say 60 or 70 rounds with the 1022 here on the Rimfire range. Just to take a look at the Xero, get some more time, a little bit more time behind the Bushnell Match Pro ED. And haven't written a review or recorded a review or anything like that. Somebody's already come out with a pretty extensive review. You can find it on Sniper Side. I'll link to that review in my video description just so you can read it. It's a pretty comprehensive review, and there's really not much else to say here, like that I could say, but maybe I'll make my own review on my own feelings about this. But if you need to find something out there that's really good, there's already an article out there talking about this. But I will say that after using this in various conditions, the biggest issue with this scope is the chromatic aberration. I've realized that's what the issue is, at least on the Rimfire range, why it looks so terrible at 50 yards, anywhere between like 25 and 100 yards. It looks really bad because the chromatic aberration is just pretty, it comes out and it causes the image to look really bad. We're looking on white targets, bright sunlight, early morning, and that's where you're seeing a lot of CA. That fringing, sometimes it's purple, sometimes it's really blue around those edges. So it's a knock on this scope. Anyway, Garmin Pro, I mean, it's still amazing me right now. Second time out with it, and it works. Like literally just put it up near the gun, turn it on, arm it, and start shooting. There's no fine tuning of anything. It just works. And I'm using it with my homemade DIY Arca mount, arm mount, just offset of the rifle. I said earlier in this range vlog that I did order an arm mount. So I ordered the Area 419, the Area 419 version without the clamp because its interface, it has a ARM 17 interface on it. So my Really Right Stuff clamps will work. I have a spare clamp that's laying around that I can throw on there, and I'll be good to go. And the reason why I decided to get the Area 419 or somebody's commercially made mount is because not only can you run it on the side, you can run it in the forward or rearward manner, or forward manner. So on both sides they have the ARM 17 interface such that it'll work on the side mount, and it's flipped vertically or in line with the arm, so you can mount the clamp kind of this way, and then you can put it on a spigot mount or a forward of your Arca rail and have it run forward. Interesting concept. I think the big issue is whether or not it'll clear barrels, because with certain spigot mounts it'll work fine, but I think you may need some kind of spacer or something to run it. Because right here, if you look at mine, if I were to flip it this way, it's gonna hit the barrel. So I'm not entirely sure how I'll set that up, but that was interesting to me, and maybe I'll come up with find a way to get that to work. Anyway, that's it for this range session on Black Friday. I'm gonna head out of here. I'm probably gonna go home and just probably just bust out the Christmas decorations, unbox those things. This weekend, this Sunday's our NRL 22 match, so if you're interested in shooting the match this weekend, if you're not doing anything on your Thanksgiving weekend Sunday, come out to our match. Just be here at 8, so you can pre-register on Practice Score. I'll put the link to that in the video description. Just got to be here at 8 sharp, because that's when we do safety brief. We got a low number of signups because I'm pretty sure everyone's out of town for Thanksgiving holiday weekend. I think we only have 10 people sign up, so it should be a pretty quick match if you're interested in coming out. But then again, I just said that, and maybe a lot of people sign up, and it ends up being a long match because we have too many people. But anyway, definitely come out if you're interested. That's it for today, November 24th, Friday here at the West End Gun Club. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vlog.